Hello, this is Story Family, and a new original story from my channel Life Stories. Nicole always knew exactly what she wanted. When potential parents came, as everyone said, for a viewing, she tried to hide. She didn't want to be adopted because she knew for sure that she didn't need it. She had a dad, and she would wait until he found her, or she found him. Nicole just didn't know for sure if her dad knew about her or not. One day, the caregiver, noticing that Nicole had hidden under the table, confidently pulled her out from there. Nicole was a very beautiful girl and also smart. She noticeably stood out among all the orphanage children. Why are you hiding? You can't hide from your happiness. They'll definitely choose you first. Nicole struggled, but the caregiver shouted at her. What's wrong with you? Do you want to go to isolation? Nicole didn't want to go to isolation because, due to her antics, she had already been there. As the caregiver predicted, they chose Nicole right away, a quite pleasant woman and man. Nicole didn't want to offend them, but somewhere there was a dad, so she didn't need strangers. They returned the girl after a week. You know, this isn't a child, this is a little savage. She behaves like a beast in the forest. She doesn't accept anyone. She needs treatment because she bit our cat. The orphanage director and caregivers looked at the calm Nicole with completely stunned eyes. All these stories didn't resemble their girl at all. Veronica, maybe you can explain something to us? Nicole raised her eyebrows. About what? Well, why did you behave so badly? Didn't you understand that you could end up back in the orphanage? I understood, and I wanted to return. I didn't want to go to anyone. I have a dad, and we'll definitely meet. The director looked at the caregiver in confusion. Well, go to your room. When the girl left, Nina Gregory turned to the caregivers. Well, what's the story with the dad? One of them sighed. The thing is, we were walking once, and a woman ran up to her, shoved a photo into her hand, and shouted, Veronica, this is your dad. Find him, and everything will be fine. I chased her away, but Nicole, she went crazy from that moment. We tried to take the photo away, but she throws such a strong tantrum that we have to call a doctor. We decided to wait until she grows up a bit. And how long ago was this? More than 6 months, although no, 1 year for sure. And I knew nothing about this, Nina Gregory said. Well, you have several hundred children, and we didn't report such a single case. The director nodded. Okay, I understand. She hides, so let her hide. No need to push her to potential parents. We'll see, maybe she'll really let go. And what kind of woman was that? The caregiver shrugged. Some old lady, looked like a crazy person. When everyone dispersed, the director took out Nicole's personal file. They brought her to the orphanage from some apartment where her mother was having a very fun time. The neighbors had long complained about the new tenant who rented the apartment, but the police couldn't do anything. When they came, everything was proper. A young mother with a child, no gatherings. They found the mother already cold. She had poisoned herself with some next drug. The 3-year-old girl accidentally or deliberately opened the door and went out to the landing. The neighbor wanted to return her to her mother but entered, and there was such a thing. No one knew exactly who this mother was, from where, no documents, nothing. And that old woman who rushed to Nicole could have been anyone, a real relative or just a real madwoman. Well, now nothing can be changed. Time passed. Nicole often looked at that photo that was given to her. Dad was handsome. Nicole looked very much like him. She often stood in front of the mirror and examined herself and the picture. Yes, very similar. One of the days, when they were being led to the theater, Nicole stopped as if rooted to the spot. As they passed by some open cafe, she saw him. There could be no doubts because Nicole knew by heart from the photo every hair, every feature of his face. Veronica, come on, you're holding everyone up. We might be late. Nicole obediently stepped forward, not taking her eyes off the man who was arguing about something with a beautiful woman. She was proving something to him. He was shaking his head negatively. She tried to kiss him, and he pushed her away. Nicole didn't like this doll-like woman either. She decided that right now she would go with everyone to the theater and quickly run away from there to have time to talk to that man. She thought it all through. Everything would work out. She would have time to tell him everything she needed. Sarah was working the night shift today. Lately, she even asked to be given nights. She couldn't be at home precisely at this time after her husband left for a young graduate student. At night, the loneliness felt especially strong, But during the day, it wasn't like that. There were some things to do, and she slept well after the night. Her friend scolded her, saying it was time to forget the traitor and live her full life, but she didn't want to. She no longer loved her husband and wouldn't forgive him in any case, but she had no desire to enter new relationships. And if her friends were very persistent and tried to introduce her to someone, Sarah immediately told them that she works as a pathologist and really likes touching the cold bodies of men with a scalpel. Like a gust of wind blew them away. Her friends scolded her, and she laughed and asked them not to do nonsense anymore. Girls, there are so few men take care of them quietly, or suddenly someone you bring me will have a weak heart. Today it was calm. The shift had just started. The doctor who was leaving said, "The holidays are over, weekdays, so rest." I was idle all day today. Lucky you. You'll see, and it'll be quiet for you too. There are a few there, but they are refusals. Refusals were those whose relatives didn't want an autopsy, and the cause of death was clear, for example, very old or very sick people. And she hadn't even made herself tea when the bell rang. Sarah sighed. Well, he jinxed it. The orderly peeked in. Sarah, there. Yes, I hear. Alex, I'm coming. They brought a man straight from a cafe. Suspicion of poisoning. Did he get poisoned in the cafe? Only it seems the girlfriend poisoned him. We arrived just as the police were twisting her, and she was still trying to kick the body with her foot. Wow, what passions. No sooner had one car left than a second one arrived, and off it went. They say rightly. Once you open it, it starts. Sarah only went out to the street about 3 hours later to get some fresh air. She needed to take a break, rest a bit. She sat on the bench at the entrance and suddenly saw a girl. She was standing by a tree and looking at her attentively. The picture was a bit creepy. Evening, twilight, morgue, and a girl who in principle shouldn't be there. Hello, what are you doing here? The girl stepped forward. I finally found my dad. He's in there with you. When will he come out? Sarah was confused. Dad? And who is your dad? Well, he's in such a light suit. He was in the cafe. Sarah understood who she meant. And why finally? The girl came closer. Well, you see, I've wanted to find him for a long time, and I only had his photo, and today I saw him. I even had to run away, and he still doesn't come out. Sarah sighed. Well, why are there no adults around the girl? How to explain to her, a child, that dad won't come out anymore? And where's mom? The girl shrugged. I don't know. I'm from the orphanage. Sarah felt her heart skip a beat. So you ran away from the orphanage? The girl looked at her pleadingly. Please, don't report them. They'll take me away, and I won't even have time to tell him that I exist for him. He'll come out, I'll tell him everything, and then you can report. He definitely won't let me be offended. Sarah didn't know what to do. Well, how to tell the girl that dad is dead? And maybe it's not dad at all. She needed to call the orphanage, but she was terribly reluctant to do it. For the first time, she didn't understand how to act. Well, you go, and I'll sit here a bit more. You probably have work there. Sarah, like an ordinary coward, went into the building, stood a little by the wall, then called the orderlies. Come on, we'll autopsy the cafe one. When everything was ready, she took the scalpel, but as soon as she touched the skin with the cold metal, the skin twitched like a normal person's reflex. She didn't understand. The orderly was also looking at her in surprise. Sarah took the hand. No rigor mortis. Did it seem to her, or is there a pulse somewhere? She felt it. Anna slowly reached for the stethoscope. Pulse. Ambulance. Run. While the orderlies were calling the ambulance, Anna examined the man. But yes, it's some temporary poison. They studied such in the institute, poisons for which there is an antidote. If not administered, the person dies, but very rarely, usually after some treatment, there may be some amount of antidote in the body, and then he falls into a coma, doesn't die, but doesn't look particularly alive either. The ambulance was there in 3 minutes. The girl with huge eyes watched as the man who was brought from the cafe was again carried into the ambulance. Sarah had already forgotten about her, and when the car left, she said to the girl, Let's agree. I'll tell Dad about you, say that you're looking for him as soon as he comes to consciousness, and you tell me where to find you. But you can't live on the street all this time. You won't deceive me? You'll definitely tell? Of course, I swear. In the morning, Sarah called the hospital. Has your newborn come to? Weak still, but he'll live. Can I see him? Well, generally no, but for you, I think yes. The doctor, seeing her, grinned. Do you want to make sure he won't be brought back to you? She smiled. No, I need to ask him something. Well, come on, I'll escort you. You're a beautiful woman, Sarah, and your name is beautiful. And why don't you want to go anywhere with me? Not to the movies, not to the restaurant. Sarah laughed. She and Alex once started studying in the same course, and then went in different directions. You never invited me anywhere. He looked at her seriously. I didn't invite because I knew you were married and wouldn't go anywhere. Ah, you have outdated information. I'm already divorced. She entered the ward, and the doctor remained standing with his mouth open. Hello. The man turned his head to her and raised an eyebrow. Hello. You don't know me. I'm a pathologist. He smiled. And is it you I should thank? Yes, no, not for that. I don't even know how to say it, and maybe I'll seem crazy to you, but I promised. Tell me, do you have a daughter? No. You might have a daughter. The man paled, then sat up. I had a daughter, she disappeared 6 years ago. And why are you asking? Do you know something about her? Sarah felt cold. Well, now she's in trouble. I'll tell you everything now, everything the girl who was waiting for you at the morgue told me. He listened without interrupting, then tried to get up. I need to go there, to the orphanage. You can't now, you need to lie down. He punched with his fist. Ah, all my life I've been unlucky with women. My wife, the mother Eve, left us when my daughter was only 1.5 years old. I hired a nanny who was supposed to take care of the child, but she decided to take care of me, and when I refused to marry her, she ran away and took with her the most precious thing I had, my daughter. She promised to make my life hell, and she succeeded. Everyone was looking for her, but no traces. I need to find out the story of that girl. Yes, I'll recognize my Emily even if 20 years pass. He winced apparently. He was still feeling bad. Let's do this. I'll go to the orphanage, find out everything I can there, and come back to you. Please, I won't remain in debt. The director didn't understand what Sarah wanted from her until she told her the whole story. Oh, this Nicole. The door creaked. Robert turned his head. He was so waiting for the return of this woman that he couldn't even fall asleep after the injection. He was afraid to believe, afraid, and at the same time hoped. Dad. In the doorway stood a girl. It was his girl, Emily. Everything turned out simple. That elderly woman was the mother of that very nanny with whom Nicole lived. The mother went crazy after her daughter's death, but one thing stuck firmly in her brain, that the child needed help. So she helped as she could. Sarah left the ward. There remained the caregiver, Emily Nicole, and her father. She had done everything she could time to go home. Sarah. She turned sharply. Alex smiled embarrassedly. I took 2 tickets to the theater for the evening. Will you go? And what's playing? Alex sighed in confusion. And I didn't even look. She laughed. Well, then definitely let's go. Only I need a couple of hours to sleep and get myself in order. Alex just smiled happily. And 6 months later, Robert arranged a luxurious wedding for them, at which Emily, now Nicole, was the most honored guest. Thank you for watching to the end. If you like the story, I hope for your support with the thumbs up button. All the best.